Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Velocity Talks. My name is Christopher Durham and I'm the president of the Velocity Institute. This week I'm excited to welcome Neil Stern. Neil, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So before we jump into Neil, though, we got to do the YouTube thing and say, please hit the like button down there. It helps the algorithm. You'll get everything, notifications on it, and please subscribe. As we grow the channel, we're trying to create more content for you that talks about retailer-owned brands every day, and it's a great place to be. Neil, thanks for joining me again.
Yeah, happy to be here and talk a little bit about Good Food Holdings.
Absolutely. Let's start with Neil, though. So tell us who Neil Stern is.
Who's Neil Stearns? I've gotten an unusual path to the CEO of a retail company, and not a recommended one either, by the way, but I was a lifelong consultant to the retail industry and got involved in the food retail industry somewhat by accident. But my very first consulting assignment was with Vaughn's Grocery Company. At the time, we were creating Pavilions, which was one of the first upscale supermarkets by a retail chain. We created Tianguis, which was the first Mexican-American supermarket by a national chain. And I was on the ground floor, some really cool, innovative stuff when I was really young, almost 40 years ago, and doing that. And then over the years, I had the great fortune to work with some fabulous retailers around the U.S., like Publix and Harris Teeter, to name a few, and then also got involved internationally in retail. And that kind of leads me to where we are today, which is I was working for a company called eMart. Ironically, my first project was eMart was creating their private label program, which hopefully they will have a chance to talk about that. And then 5 years ago, eMart got into the business in the U.S. and we acquired two different chains that create what's now Good Food Holdings. And I helped make those two deals. I was sitting on the board of the companies. And 4 years ago, during the middle of COVID, they said, hey, do you want to be the CEO of Good Food Holdings? And after a lot of talk with my wife, I said, sure, let's do it. So packed up from Chicago, moved to Southern California, and have been doing this for the last 4 years.
That's a pretty amazing transition. So you went from consulting to running, what do you guys have, 20 some odd stores now? Is that?
We've got 55 stores.
Oh, I'm underestimating us.
We got 55 stores across 3 states and about $1.6 billion today. Yeah, we've built a nice little business all along the West Coast.
So let me see if I can name them. Metropolitan Markets in Seattle.
Yep.
New Seasons Markets in Portland. New Leaf Community Markets in Santa Cruz. Bristol Farms and Lazy Acres in LA.
Not only did you get it right, you also did it geographically north to south, right? So you can either go, I say we go from San Diego to Seattle, right? So we cover the West Coast with some pockets, some holes in between, but that's exactly who we are today.
So tell us about the stores, though. If I go shop that, what do the stores look like?
Yeah, what I like to say about who we are is that we operate the best stores in the local markets that we operate, and we are purposely inefficient. And what do I mean by that? We really believe that it's important to be local, and it's important to drive execution down to the markets that we operate in. So we have multiple buying teams, we have multiple offices, and I'll take us back south to north. So in Southern California, as an example, we have Bristol Farms, which is one of the granddaddies of gourmet supermarket retailing. Bristol stands for being the best of the best in perishables, meat, seafood, produce, prepared foods, and really being a curated kind of grocery shop. So focused on specialty. And Bristol's all about taste, and our customers and our stores are located in places like Beverly Hills and Santa Monica and Newport Beach, and we serve the high-end customers in the market. Right. Interestingly, before I got there, we acquired Lazy Acres, which was a one-store natural food store in Santa Barbara, California. Not sure why they acquired it, but they did over time. And we had a Bristol Farms in Long Beach that was struggling. And rather than close the store, we said, what if we turn that store into a Lazy Acres? And this location in Long Beach had some of the characteristics of Santa Barbara, younger customers, right near a college, more education. Turn it into Lazy Acres, it was a success. And we said, aha, we have something here. So now we have Lazy Acres up and down the coast, a couple in San Diego, Hermosa Beach in California. We just opened in Los Feliz, and of course, the Harbor store. And what's really cool is that Lazy and Bristol can be literally next door to each other. They're both in Santa Barbara. We have one in Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach, which are beach communities are sitting next to each other. And the Lazy customer it's all about natural and organic. And I said they're younger, a little more education focused, and they really care about what they're putting in their body. So lazy customers read the labels. They care about sustainability, nutrition, and where the stuff is coming from, and they both coexist in the same market. I'll take us further north at New Leaf in Santa Cruz. Very similar to Lazy Acres. It's like the OG of, if you've ever been to Santa Cruz, California, it's the surf capital of the world, hippie
Yeah.
capital of the world. And we have a very hardcore natural and organic customer there. Going up to Portland, we have New Seasons. New Seasons, I would say, is in between those formats. So if you looked at a New Seasons, it's about natural and organic. It's about local in a very big way, because that's a major part of what Portland's all about. And you can get Coca-Cola and Cheerios and Tide and national brands there. So it's a hybrid between Bristol being very gourmet and a Lazy and a New Leaf being very natural and organic. And then finally, up in Seattle, we have Metropolitan Markets, and Met is similar to Bristol Farms in terms of serving the premium customer, but it is a complete grocery shop. You can go to Met and you can get everything done on a weekly shop. And so all those stores, summarizing, they're all premium, right? We're sitting in the higher end of the market. They all lean pretty heavily into natural and specialty, but the local execution is quite different. So if anybody ever said those two banners are the same, you'll get, those are fighting words in our inside our company. We say, no, we're really different in how we go to market, because we're trying to do what's best for a customer in LA or Portland or Seattle.
Oh, and it sounds like you're ranging the spectrum between premium, taste great ingredients to save the planet kind of. Yeah, they don't call them hipsters anymore.
And what's funny is that the answer is absolutely yes, but the differences are becoming a little less distinct, right? So
Yeah.
the Bristol Farms is adding the new Bristol Farm store. We've added natural living departments. We're leaning pretty heavily into organic foods there. Lazy Acres, we have full kitchens in there. We have indulgent food service, and of course, one of our most famous signature products is the cookie, right? And this is a super indulgent chocolate chip cookie,
Nice.
and we sell it in Lazy Acres, and we sell it in Bristol Farms,
Everybody
and we
likes
sell it in
chocolate chip
Metropolitan
cookies.
Markets. And lo and behold, everybody, whether you're a hipster or whether you're top of the income spectrum, actually really likes a warm chocolate chip cookie. Go figure.
There's a reason the only product Dave Nichols actually talked about was chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, the decadent chocolate chip cookie, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that leads us to private brand, though. So obviously, you guys have made some big announcements recently about launching some brands. So tell us about what you're doing there.
Yeah. So as we're 55 stores, but when you break that down, there's 20 New Seasons, there's 20 Bristol Lazies. We're decent size overall, but when you get to the banner level, not that big. So what we've historically had is at a Bristol Farms, you're going to see really fabulous premium products of balsamic vinegar or wonderful olive oil or an Italian soda water. But we didn't have the mass to really be in the mainstream private label business. New Seasons, we have an amazing business called Partner Brand, and I think it's one of the coolest private label programs out there, where we are partnering on the local level with providers, and it's New Seasons times.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, the local pasta provider or the local cheesemaker or local ice cream shop. Fabulous, but also almost by the nature of that, unscalable, right? It's hard to take local and say, well, I can do that in California, because people in California aren't going to want that. So what we were really striving to do with New Coast, and that's the name of our new product, was have something that could span across all 5 of those banners we just talked about. And there's some unique challenges with that. We need clean ingredients at our banners, and we wanted something that could go into a Bristol Farms or a Metropolitan Market or a New Seasons and sit on the shelf. And that's the journey. We've been 2 years into that journey. We finally have products out in the market, which we're excited about. But it was bringing all of our teams together and saying, what would that product look like? How do you name it? How does it come to market on a packaging standpoint? And that's the New Coast. So there's the West Coast, the East Coast, and there's the New Coast. And that kind of represents us across the geography that we have in our store. So we are all coastal for now anyways.
That's fun. So tell us about some of the new product. Where are you starting?
Yeah. So when we got together as a team, our inspirations wouldn't be surprising. People like Trader Joe's are absolutely on the list here. We're looking at things like 365 from Whole Foods. And we're
Mm.
basically, as we said, is we want to do polished basics, or let's have the basics with a twist. So we don't want to have Me Too products, and hopefully we won't have any Me Too products out there. But we do recognize that that in our portfolio, anyways, we need to signal value to the customers more, and we wanted something that really can be mainstream across our banners and that will represent, frankly, who we are. And I'll say the simple thing I say about Good Food Holdings is we source, produce, and sell great food. Done, right?
I think it makes it easy though, because it almost goes back to I used to talk about Jim Senegal at Costco, and he was very protective of Kirkland Signature. Basically, it was that if you
Yeah.
put something that was crap in there and he found you, at least if you're sourcing good food,
Yep.
you know where you're starting, right?
Yeah, and that's our, I guess, our promise to the consumer is when you come to one of our stores, you're gonna have great food, hopefully great service, a great experience. We put a lot more money into service departments. We put money into our decor and who we stand for, and but ultimately it's about the food you're selling and about what they're tasting when they bring that product home. So the promise of New Coast is to create great foods to to have the basics, but have a little twists and have it be a little fun and a little different. So the first products out of the gate, and I won't say they're not the decadent chocolate chip cookie from Dave Nichols yet, but the
It took him a
representative,
long time to get there, though. He
for
didn't.
sure. Yeah, I'll let you know when we get that product. I would love to have it. With the first kind of categories we tackled are frozen. So the very first product out of the gate was empanadas, right? So empanadas
Makes
is a great
sense.
example. Like
Yeah.
it's that's not the most common item out there. And we came out with empanadas, and we've got a beef and a chicken and a breakfast empanada, and that's an example of what we think is going to fit into the range of New Coast. We have truffles, and we came out with a line of truffles, 3 different flavors of truffles. And then coming very soon, depending on when this airs, we're going to our next wave of products. We're going to have some pasta entrees in the frozen section. And again, it, it's not going to be spaghettis and tomato sauce, right? We're going to say maybe it's brown butter ravioli, right? Maybe it's something again that has that twist. And we're hardly unique, but I think it's something that Trader Joe's does so well. It's that discovery part of it where it's not going to be your Me Too product coming through.
And you live Pacific Northwest down to Southern California, so that's a well-defined customer. It's a well-defined flavor palette, and they're, I would think, more open to things. So
Yeah, our customer base, as I said, they are higher income, they have higher education, they travel. So I hardly have to explain what an empanada is to our base customer, or what a really good truffle would be. They're foodies, and because they're foodies, it creates a little higher threshold in terms of what we're going to do that's going to get them excited.
but it makes it exciting to do product development because some of it's discovery, right? If we're going to do pasta, let's go to Italy and find 4 new shapes. Let's
Exactly. And our full name, and is really important, is New Coast Foraging Company. So we're foragers, right? We've got product developers, and yes, we're out there in Italy, we're out there in Europe, and we're trying to bring to our customers, our end consumers, something that they're going to be familiar with, but it's going to be a little more interesting, a little more exciting for them and their palate.
I think that's exciting, man. Which kind of leads into the next questions. As we look at what private brand has been, which is we've built this industry that's really good at copying
Yeah.
things for the last 50 years. And we don't need to lose that muscle. Obviously, that's always going to be an important part of what it is. But the next 50 years can't just be about that. So it's going to be some of the things that you guys are doing. So what does the future look like? What's the potential there?
We hope so. And as an old consultant, I can go back to old consulting stories, but I'll go back to eMart. At eMart, we basically created 2 tiers of private label, very much inspired by Loblaws. And we have no brand, which frankly is a brand at this point. There's no brand stores. There's no brand burger shops in Korea. So it's become a little bit of a phenomena. And we have Peacock, and Peacock would be the President's Choice kind of equivalent.
Mhm.
And Peacock's about adventuresome food and eating and experiential products. And so I think private label, my answer would be it's definitely going to follow those 2 paths, right? So we absolutely need to, as an industry, continue to be really good at the basics, right?
Yeah.
You need those national brand equivalents. They're going to drive volume. They're going to drive value, I think, in retailers. And then the muscle that needs to be developed is that experiential side and that discovery side. And again, we're leaning. New Coast will have both, by the way, but the stuff you're going to get excited about are the things that you're not going to find at other retailers. And it's going to be going back to Dave Nichols, who was an industry mentor.
Yeah,
We want a destination. We want products that are destination worthy, right? If you really do private label well and you do it well into the future, you're going to have customers who come to your store over another people's store because you have products on your shelf that the other guys don't have, right? And
absolutely.
we're both going to have Cheerios, and I get it,
Yeah.
but can I have a muesli or can I have a granola that the other guy's not going to have? That's so good, so unique that I can get them to come to my store and not go to one of my competitors.
Yeah. You need to tap into your Korean friends again. That's Korean's super big right now, right?
There's some fabulous things happening in Korea, and by the way, it's amazing because I've been traveling there for almost 20 years, and not only do you have kimchi making the mainstream, but you've got kimchi private label coming
Yeah.
on the shelf,
I got
right?
kimchi from Trader Joe's, and they had a really nice gochujang from Trader Joe's the other day.
Yeah,
Um,
but again, I think what's wonderful about where we've come as a country is that Korean food is becoming mainstream, and you'd say, "Oh, I can't do a private label on that," and the answer is sure you can. And it doesn't mean you don't do a ketchup, but you're probably going to get a lot more mileage out of a gochujang or a Thai chili sauce than you will with just doing a mainstream private label product.
I told a very large retailer the other day, asked them why they didn't have Thai chili or chili crisp. So they're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "There's the problem."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, look, this is. I would love to say we're doing something no one else has done before, and the answer is we're not. Right? We're absolutely getting inspiration from the guys who are the best at private label around the world, and we just want to be able to add our little twist into it in our stores and our boxes because our customer really will give us the latitude to do some cool things, which is great.
It sounds like you have a team though that has leaned into actually caring about food and feeding people, which
Yes.
hasn't always been true.
Look, when I say that's we source,
Mhm.
produce, and sell great food, that is so important because a lot of our competitors, and they're fabulous, but they're bigger than us, right? They're 10 times, 100 times the size of us from a scale standpoint. I can't compete on a day-to-day basis on price. So I say we're in the food business, and our customers should tangibly feel that as they come into their stores that we actually care about food, right? And when we talk about the foraging company of New Coast,
Yeah.
hopefully as you try our products, you get the fact that we didn't just pick this off an Excel screen. We were in Italy to test those pastas, right?
Oh,
And
or it's
that's
not
what's
just a
really cool.
procurement play where you never taste it or touch it. You don't know if it's any good, right? It's
Exactly. Yeah. So we can vouch for the product that we're going to put on our shelves.
think if that's not the future, I don't know what should be. So that's
Yeah.
exciting. So we always end up with the same 5 questions.
All right.
Question number 1, what's your favorite word?
Passion. And hopefully that's what we're talking about here. I think the people who change the world have passion, maybe sometimes passion beyond common sense, but they have the passion to consider doing what they're doing no matter what the obstacles are against them.
I like that. Question number 2, are you a more artistic or more mathematic person?
Wow, I think I got to lean on the mathematics side. I wish I was more artistic. I appreciate the artisans, and I think as a lifelong consultant, I was able to bring a little structure along with the people who are really great at being artistic.
Yeah, well, as long as you're building room for it, it's all good. Number 3, if you could share a meal with anyone, past or present, living or dead, who would it be and why?
That is a great question. All right, I'm going just campy and mainstream. It's going to be Bruce Springsteen, and
That's awesome.
yeah, the boss, and love his music, love what he stands for, the message he has, and I think he'd be a pretty cool guy to hang out with.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Number 4, what profession other than your own would you have liked to have attempted?
Okay, this goes against me saying I'm more mathematical. I would love to be a chef, right? So I'm a foodie. I love food, and I am awestruck by people who can take ingredients that you wouldn't think go together and make something magical out of it. So if I could be a chef who could bring some of that alchemy to the world of food, that would be my dream.
I'm the same place for you. I'm not a bad cook, but every once in a while I'll eat at a restaurant and just be amazed. I don't know how you did this. I don't know how you thought of it. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. One of the wonderful things we all probably had during COVID is we got a chance to cook more and bake more. And I'm a fabulous by the numbers cook. So
Mhm.
if you give me a recipe, I can follow it. If you said, here's four things, make something of it, I'm lost. So I would love to have that skill.
Very good. So finally, if you could speak to yourself at the beginning of your career, what advice would you give yourself?
I love my career and I love what I've done. I would say be bolder. I was probably a little too conservative, and as I was coming out, and happy to I'm the last of the boomers, by the way, 60, 64. I was born in, and hey, get a job, do your job well, and life will be good. And I didn't get I didn't get too distracted along the way, and I wish I would have probably taken some of those distractions and run with them, because there's amazing thing with entrepreneurs, and you get a 20 something year old entrepreneur, and they don't know any better, but they're fearless, and I wish I had some of that fearlessness that I see with the great entrepreneurs out there.
I absolutely agree with that. We always close up, and I like to plug some of the things that we have going on. So, coming up, actually, in the end of the month, March 27th, we're doing a virtual innovation summit, the future of private brand manufacturing, innovation, product development. So I actually have research fielded right now talking to the industry about how we're doing in it. So we'll get to take a look at that, as well as a couple of speakers, a panel with the VP of Innovation from Albertsons, Beto Galvin, and the Director of Private Brands from Misfit Markets, Morgan Drummond, as well as a couple of manufacturers to boot. So, love to have you be there. It's absolutely free. You can register at our site, velocityinstitute.org. Then in May, we'll have our annual conference here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tickets are on sale right now. You can get them for $7.99. It's $200 off. So please register, and we'd love to see you in Charlotte. A lot of great conversations going on with great retailers. If you actually want to meet and greet and talk to people, this is the place to do it. All right. Thank you very much, Neil.
Christopher, it's been a pleasure.